The biggest and most influential names in business, investing, and policy had some warnings for investors today as they discussed the health of the economy, interest rates, and the direction of stocks. They gathered at the Delivering Alpha conference presented by CNBC and Institutional Investor. And Tyler Mathisen was there.
Today at the Delivering Alpha conference in New York City, policymakers and the world's top investors came together to share ideas. The day began with Treasury Secretary Jack Lew commenting that while he thinks there's ample time to get the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, through Congress before the end of the president's term, he sees a less bright prospect for any progress on tax reform.
The political environment is not one where it has been ripe to take up something like this. But the ideas that we've been promoting will be the foundation for action in the future. It takes a desire on the part of Congress to do something hard. Hard things don't happen unless there's a real desire to do it.
On the investment front, the head of one of the largest and most interesting hedge funds of all, Ray Dalio of Bridgewater, said that you should set your economic expectations very low.
Closer to 1.5% to 2%. But I think that the answer to the question is really why. There's only so much you can squeeze out of a debt cycle, and we're there globally. I think that Japan is one step ahead of Europe, and Europe is one step or two steps ahead of the United States, and the United States is probably 2 steps ahead of China in terms of a limited ability to produce stimulation to produce that kind of growth. So everybody will have a lower growth rate than we're used to.
Dalio also had some pungent remarks for the Fed. He thinks, for example, that the Fed may have its eye on the wrong ball, and he really disagrees with CEO Jamie Dimon of Chase about raising interest rates.
Do you think that's wrong?
That's right. I think that that's wrong. At this stage, the risks are so asymmetric. There's no doubt that you can slow the economy. The world economy, the U.S. economy, tightening will work, okay? And when you look at the inflation pressures, this is a global thing. And you look at the demographics, all of those things means that the risks are so much more on the downside.
Investment manager Paul Singer of Elliott also was critical of the Fed, and harshly so. And he said to sell one type of investment in particular.
In 5,000-ish years of history, there have never been interest rates remotely close to where we are now. It hasn't worked. Owning medium to long-term G7 fixed income is a really bad idea. And by removing from your portfolio things that are really bad ideas, that's a helpful thing. So it's not just, hey, go buy this, go buy that. It's sell your 30-year bonds.
And finally, politics was a subtext here at Delivering Alpha today. And while most panelists didn't really want to put a stake in the ground and say either whom they favored or who they think will win the election, they do say that the election and the uncertainty surrounding it has made it a much tougher environment for investing, in part because it's tougher for business executives to know what the policies will be going forward. Sue, back to you.